All right, good morning, traders. Today is December 5th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. That is the day trading division for the Hit and Run Candlesticks family. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate that. Thank you, everybody. Cyberland, Podcast Land, Digital Land. Thank you for subscribing my content, following my content, liking my content, giving it the hearts like that, as well as sharing my content. Special shout out to the people that share my content. I love that. That's John Jordan, uh, Bob Jordan, Kathy, Sarah, Roasted. Thank you so much for sharing the content. That means a lot to me. All right, let's go ahead and drill down, see what's going on yesterday, see what we can put together for today. All right, so, oh wait, let me make sure and see if I got any other announcements. I think I got one more announcement. I've got this one right here. Okay, this goes away. Friday is the last day. Today's the last day for Black Friday sales. All right, and Cyber Monday. All right, so this is the last day. If you're on the edge, talk to me. If you're not on the edge, I get it. It's Black Friday. This is a lifetime membership for $39.95. Regularly goes for $10K. We also have the annual, which runs at $1,205, and you get an extra 6 months for on top of that at no charge, and that's 18 months for $1,205. I think that works out to be about close to 66, 67. $69 a month. That's a whole lot less than $125 a month. So if you're looking to lower your costs every month, there's one way. Pick up an annual, and then you won't have to pay 120, 130, or 105 every month. All right, just think about that. Okay, so Black Friday, we got the. I'll leave the link in the description as well as put it down here in the chat later on. Okay, or you can just ask me for it, or you can ask Ed. He will hook you up. All right, so Black Friday sales goes away today. All right, this is the last day. All right, my pivot this morning is 682.30. That's more for SPY. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. All of the Fab Five except for FNGU made higher highs, higher lows, closing over bullish traps over their 17 EMAs. FNGU made a higher high and a higher low as well, but closed inside the bullish trap over the 17 EMA. SPY closed with 2-hour bullish consolidation. It's just barely a 2-hour uptrend. The 3 is up over the 8, but all in all, we're just moving to the right. Okay. In a week, 1 candle, 10-minute uptrend. Again, more bullish consolidation. All right. Again, we're just moving over to the right. We got a little bit something interesting this morning. We got a little bit of consolidation over prior consolidation. That is a bullish environment. Okay, gold in a daily uptrend, made a lower low and a lower high, closing above the bullish trap and over the 17 EMA. Silver also, where's silver? Where is silver? Silver in a daily uptrend, made a lower low and a lower high, closing inside a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. USO in a daily downtrend, made a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish cross and under the 17 EMA. UNG in a daily uptrend, made a higher high, higher low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. UNG put together a nice little rally off that all-time low. That's pretty nice. U.S. dollar index remains in, no, it's in a downtrend now, okay? Closed near the 99.07 area, still in that bear flag. SPY max pain for today, 680, and a put to call ratio of about 3.5 puts for each call that expires today. Put squeeze could be on the table. All right, so if this is your first time seeing this or listening to me, okay, if it's your first time, all of these are in daily uptrends over the 17 EMA. They got a little star, they're building out a launch pad or a bull flag from which to launch higher. No guarantee that they launch higher, but they're building it out, and typically, there's a good chance that they're going to probably at least try to make a higher high. Over here, these are in bearish daily downtrends under the 17 EMA. If they've got a star next to them, they're building out a platform or a bear flag from which to dip lower. All right, let's take a look at the markets this morning. Take a look at SPY. We got consolidation over prior consolidation. That is a bullish environment. Big gap up. I like that. So this is we're bullish this morning. We're really bullish. It's looking good. All right. I'll be looking at the 690 calls. All right. Those will be on my radar. Those probably have some of those. I think I've already got some, but I will probably pick some up that close on Monday as well. So I'll be looking at 690 calls. Look at the 10-minute chart, and let's see what we got for 10-minute chart. Yeah, didn't want that one. All right, so here's our 10-minute chart, and you can see yesterday got a little 10-minute uptrend, maybe one candle, two candle uptrend right here. I mean, all in all, we just moved over to the right. That's it. Just kind of moved over to the right. Tested the lows 1, 2, 3, 4 times. All right. Tested the highs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Okay. Just moving to the right. Really tight range between was 682 and 684.70 right there. Super tight range. All right. 682.20 up to 684.70 right about there. So just tight range, just moving over to the right. Hardly any trades. We were up over VWAP, under VWAP, over, under, over, under, over, under. Tried to get over, and then we got overs. Just nothing but whipsaw action, choppy price action here. Hardly breaking any bullish or bearish rubber band candles. You can see right here. Here's some. Finally got one break. I mean, it lasted for all of 20 minutes, and then it reversed on you. All right, so very, very little trades to be taken yesterday. Total difficult day. On the difficulty level, on a 1 to 10, 10 being the worst or the most difficult, I'll probably give it an 8, all right, because it was nothing but chop. Nothing but chop, 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 all back and forth, okay? On these bull flags, okay, if you wonder how I trade bull flags, all right, I kind of box them off like this, all right, box them off, and I trade them from the bottom to the top, okay? Get the drawing tools out. See if they're going to fire up here any minute now. You know what's sad? I can't open my drawing tools and have them open before the recorder turns on. All right, because that would be really convenient instead of having to turn them on and wait for them to juice up while I'm in my video. Okay, I could have them already loaded and ready to go. But guess what? They don't work after I turn the video on, so I have to put them on after the video starts. So I trade from the bottom to the top. Okay, bottom to the top. And each time I get to the top, I take profits up there, but I don't take 100% of my profit. First time I take 90. Second time I take 80%, 70%, 60%. Because eventually we're going to break through, just like we did over here, okay? And we got the consolidation on top of consolidation. So, again, I take 90, 80, 70, 60. You get the gist, all right? Every time we go up there and visit the top, all right? So, looking for a breakout today. Personal income and outlay is going to be announced today around 8:30. That should, it's a delayed report, so we'll see what they want to do, but that's how I trade my bull flags. That's a nice bull flag. Look at price action. From the bottom up to the top, you can see here. All right, goes up and then over. All right, nice bull flag. Okay, that's what I like. I like it when price goes up and holds the higher ground. Okay, not liking it so much when it goes up and then it gives it up. That's just neutral. Okay, but when it does this, it goes up and it holds the higher ground. That's bullish. That gets my interest. Okay, the idea. I mean, that's a show of strength for all you guys that exercise out there and gals. Okay, that's like planking. All right, for I don't know 7 days straight there. Okay, that's hard. All right, that's like planking all day like that. Okay, so that's a show of strength right there when they do that. All right, now for on the daily chart, I like them to hold for more than 30 days. So when I see the fourth day, I kind of feel good, like I kind of wipe the sweat off my brows, like oh that was good. All right, okay, we're not at least we're not going to roll over. All right, or the chances of rolling over have decreased sufficiently. All right, that's what I like, and we got that fourth day of price action holding the higher ground after making that rally. That was really nice. So there's SPY. And by the way, that was the 10. This is the 10-minute chart. Let's take that off. Okay, 10-minute chart. Let's go to the 10. Again, we're just moving over to the right here. Let me get this bull flag off of there. All right, let's pick up the 2-hour chart. And you can see on the 2-hour chart, it's consolidation. It's bullish consolidation. But you got just barely. You can see the 3 EMA is riding on top of the 8 EMA here, okay? And you notice all the candle bodies and tails are right inside between the 3 and the 8. So they're kind of eclipsing. There's no like daylight. This is what I like. When there's daylight in there, that's a beautiful, nice uptrend. Okay, so I'm looking at, see that candle right there? That's a nice candle. That's a nice bullish candle. All right? Whenever the bears push it down and the bulls come back and say, not today, that's a really bullish candle right there. So I see good things for the bulls today and next week. So there's 2-hour chart. That's bullish. We're in an uptrend. More of bullish flag consolidation. On the daily chart, okay, let's look at what happened here. Okay, I want to review it for everybody that doesn't watch the videos. Okay, maybe this will be your first time. You can see big $20 candle right there, sell-off day. Okay, igniting candle, but look, no follow through. Okay, and the bulls smelled the weakness and they ran off and made a new all-time high. All right, so this could be deja vu right here. Okay, big $22 bearish candle, no follow through. Okay, wow. Okay, the bulls did not waste any time at all once they smelled the weakness again, and they ran it all the way up here. Now look, we'll hold for 1, 2, 3. See there's the third day. And then this came the fourth day right there. That's when you wipe the sweat off your forehead like, oh, we made it. There's a really low chance we're going down now. They're probably going to hold these highs. Okay, so I see an attack on the all-time highs in the near future. If not today, I think sometime next week. All right, that's really, really, really looking fantastic. Moving up and holding that higher ground. See this? They get up for one candle and they roll over. Look at this. They're up for 3 candles. They roll over, 3 candles, and then they roll over again. Okay, so now look, this is different. See that? They're up there. It's 3, 4, 5 candles up here. Okay, so the chances of rolling over decrease the longer we stay up here. Okay, they decrease. So this is looking good. So yesterday's candle, make sure I got the right one. Okay, higher low, higher high. Closing over the bullish trap. So it's above the 3 and the 8. Over the bullish trap. Over the 17. That's the, see the red dots that turn to green dots? That's the 17 EMA. Over the 17 EMA. And over, see this is the all-time high anchored VWAP. That pink line right there. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Right there. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful for SPY holding the higher ground. Nice bullish uptrend over the all-time high anchored VWAP. I see a really strong future. I mean, we get up over this 685. The next candle up is this one right here. Okay, so we popped 686 today. Probably most definitely going to make an attack on the all-time high. All right, we'll see what happens. All right, so there's the daily chart. Let's take a look at the weekly. Oh, let me back up to the daily. Okay, so this is our April low. This is where the rally originated. And you come up here and you can see there's a high. We made a higher high, so we're in an uptrend. So we're at the top of quadrant 4 and we're in an uptrend. So we're bullish and in an uptrend for SPY. Okay, for the game plan for today on SPY. All right, pretty much the same as yesterday. Okay, green erases red entry over 684.90. Okay, so right over the top of those candles right there. Green erases red. Pivot 682.30. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Red erases green entry underneath 679.65. Okay, I like 7 days till expiration Friday options and 14 days till expiration Friday options on the multiple of 5. Specifically for the open interest, and the open interest usually equates to higher liquidity whenever we get a lot of open interest. So I like those on the multiple strikes that are on the multiple of 5. Okay, I trade strikes that are $2 to $15 out of the money. All right, I trade them because my sweet spot for me, I like trading contracts that are between 30 cents and $1.20, okay? Because I only got a 30K account, so I got to keep them cheap, all right? So that I can get. I like to have more than just one sell and one buy. You kind of, if you only got one contract, you got to kind of execute almost perfectly, and I'm not perfect, so I like to have a lot. That way I can blast that range and capture some profits. All right, so you can see price action. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Again, if a 10-minute downtrend manifests up here long before the red erases green entry, okay, I'm not opposed to trading the 10-minute downtrend. I just like to see it break like maybe a 5-minute rubber band, bearish rubber band candle, or a 10-minute chart bearish rubber band candle. Same thing with the uptrends, all right? If one were to manifest down here or in here or long before it gets to the green erases red entry, okay? So I don't have to wait for the green erases red. I got to just have a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, but I like to see it break the bullish 5-minute rubber band candle or the bullish 10-minute rubber band candle, okay? I like to put at least a little bit of requirements in there. That way I'm not taking every trade and getting chopped up. As you can see yesterday, nothing but chop, chop, chop. Up over VWAP, under VWAP, over, under, over, under, over, under. You get the gist. Okay, nothing but chop. If you made money yesterday, pat yourself on the back because that was a difficult day. Day before was the same thing. Over, under, over, under, over, under. All right, so nothing new the day before that. Okay, so if you got chopped up this week, it's something to think about. Just trade from the bottom up to the top, from the bottom to the top, and just have the patience to wait for it. Okay, so that's my plan. That's how I trade my bull flags, because that tends to happen is you get that chop, and all it does is move back and forth over VWAP. Okay, so there's my game plan for today. Okay, I'm just going to let you in on my favorite trade. All right, it's a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP that resides inside the 2-hour uptrend, that resides inside the daily uptrend, inside the weekly uptrend, inside the monthly uptrend. Okay, so that's my favorite trade. All right, and right now we have, we got a 2-hour uptrend, we got a daily uptrend, we got a weekly uptrend, and we got a monthly uptrend right now. Okay, so and we're over the all-time high anchored VWAP. So right now they're setting up my favorite trade. All right, so I like that. Okay, so I like to trade those. That's my favorite trade right there. Let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ's got a game plan as well. Again, I like 7 days till expiration and 14 days till expiration Friday options on the multiple of 5, specifically for the open interest. Okay, so the strike should probably be on a multiple of 5, like 680, 620, 625. I like strikes $2 to $15 out of the money. All right, because I have a small account. I trade 10-minute uptrends, same as QQQ, excuse me, same as SPY. Trade 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I trade 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Green erase is red. Over 624.35. Pivot 621.50. Red erase is green, 618, below 618. All right, we'll see what happens today. So there's QQQ. Let's take a look at QQQ on the daily time frame. Okay, right there. Okay, here's QQQ candle, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over the 17 EMA. There's a high. They made a higher high. That's an uptrend. They're bullish because they're at the top of quadrant 4 and in an uptrend, both QQQ and SPY. And you can see weekly charts, okay, bullish and in an uptrend. Monthly chart, bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, let's go back to daily chart. Let's take a look at IWM. Look at IWM, almost making a new all-time high. Let's see what they got for high. 252.66, 252.77. So they missed by 11 cents. They might get it today. Keep an eye on those boys. Okay, so higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap. All right, over the rising 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, at the very, 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 very tippy top of quadrant 4, and in an uptrend. There's a high. They made a higher high. This is bullish and in an uptrend, IWM. All right, let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Okay, Diamond Dow does a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over, see the dots, over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line. Okay, and they're still in a downtrend. Now, how can that be, right? How can they still be in a downtrend, right? And look how much they've moved up. This is called a pullback in the downtrend. Eventually, the pullback in the downtrend eclipses the downtrend and then negates it, okay? So how did they get into a downtrend? Well, it's the 17 EMA, okay, right here, these green dots. So we got a low that happens to protrude below the 17 EMA. See the valley? That would be the one side of the valley, and that would be the low of the valley. That would be the high of the valley. Okay, so here's the low. So here's a higher low. And then they came in and they made a lower low. See here? There's a low. They went even lower than this low. So that put them in a downtrend. Okay? Now, in order to negate the downtrend, they have to make a higher high. So the first high you come to over the 17 is this high right here. That peak right there. So they have to come all the way back up here to negate the downtrend. Remember, this is just a label, all right? Okay, because look at it. This is a downtrend that's obviously dysfunctional, okay, because it's not moving down. It's moving up, all right? So we got a dysfunctional downtrend and price is moving up. So you can see price action, again, higher low, higher high, over the trap, over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, but still in a dysfunctional downtrend that is moving up. Hey, I'm not opposed to that, okay? I'm all for it. I like it. All right? I hope they continue. If they happen to take out that high, they will negate the downtrend and convert the uptrend. They're at the top of quadrant 4, all right? So they're still bullish even though they're in this downtrend. Okay, they're bullish up here in the upper third of the quadrant line. So here's your April low. You're up here at the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish. You're just in a dysfunctional downtrend, all right, that's moving up more than it is moving down. Okay, so there's diamond down. Let's take a look at FNGU. All right, FNGU got a, yep, just like the others, higher low, higher high, closing inside a bullish trap over the flat 17 EMA. Okay, and they have a high here, and they squeaked out a higher high. See the high that pokes through the 17 there? They squeaked out just a higher high. So they're in an uptrend. Not a convincing uptrend because it's kind of flat right here, but they're in an uptrend. Okay, they qualified. All right, so price action in an uptrend, closing inside the bullish trap, over the 17, over the all-time high. That's a pink line anchored VWAP. Okay, they're in quadrant 4, so they're in the upper third, so they're bullish and in an uptrend right now. Okay, so bullish and an uptrend for FNGU. Let's take a look at silver and gold. Remember, silver made a new all-time high right here. Okay, silver lower high, lower low, closing inside the bullish trap over the rising 17. That's the green dots. Okay, over and at the top of quadrant 4, that's bullish and in an uptrend. Gold, lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap, okay, over the 3 EMA, over the 17 EMA, and over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Top of quadrant 4, again, that's bullish, all right? They haven't broken this. They haven't made any lower lows. That's bullish and in an uptrend on gold. Let's take a look at UNG. UNG having a fantastic month through November and December. Okay, UNG outside day, higher high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap, over the 17. That's now neutral, no longer bearish. Okay, see this up here? Neutral, no longer bearish, over the 2025 high anchored VWAP. It's been a long time, almost 10 months to finally get a candle to close over the 2025 high anchored VWAP. It's been a long time for UNG. So nice little uptrend. This is an all-time low right here. There's a lower high. See, there's a high. There's a lower high. Okay, there's a failure to make a lower low. So that is a higher low. And then from the higher low, we got a higher high. And then another higher low. And then a higher high. So we're in an uptrend because we're making higher highs and not lower lows. So UNG in an uptrend currently, all right, on the daily chart, and now in neutral territory. So neutral and in an uptrend and over the 2025 high anchored VWAP. Okay, so that's UNGs. Take a look at USO. USO right here, it's got a, let's see what we got. That looks like an outside day as well. All right, so that's a higher high and a lower low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA, spiking the downtrend line. They got a high here and they made a higher high. It's only one candle, but there's a uptrend right there on USO. So there's an uptrend because they made a higher high. All right, but they're just still neutral right here, and they may be in an uptrend. They're still under the downtrend line. Okay, even though they're in an uptrend, they're pulling back to the downtrend line. So still neutral on USO, and still under the downtrend line, but currently in a daily uptrend. All right, that's USO. Let's take a look at our technicals. T2101, here's some market breadth. We moved to the right, more consolidation yesterday. So you can see right here, we lost a little market breadth and participation. All right, when it moves to the right, investors don't really get interested. All right, they like to see it when it's breaking out. That piques their interest. When it just moves to the right, they lose interest. Right there, you can see that's them just losing interest in breadth. So you can interchange breadth with participation. Okay, so absolute participation index. Okay, so you can see less participation right there. Okay, that's normal though. We're still up off the lows that we were in back here in October, September. So this is good. Like to see it up higher. It very rarely gets much higher. If we look at the weekly, okay, you can see the highest it got was kind of right there, and that was COVID. See how high that got? That was 2020. That was COVID right there. Okay, I'll bet this is our April low right here. I'll bet that's the April low. See up, see April. See that high, April low. Okay, that's where the whole rally started from. Okay, so there's T2101, T2122. Okay, we spent the day up here in the buy zone. Not bad. I'll take it. All right, they consolidating up here and holding the higher ground. See, moves up and holding this higher ground area. I hope they stay between these two, the buy zone and the overbought zone, all week next week. I hope they don't get too bullish, but they get bullish enough to just kind of hang out here and continue to make and grind out higher highs. We'll see. All right, that's T2122. Nice work for T2122. T2123. Let's look at this, okay? Bullish gap up, not filled by the bears. Okay, so that's bullish. You got some highs right here. We made higher highs, so we're in an uptrend. The bears haven't made a lower low yet, so we're still in an uptrend. We're above the 200 SMA. Okay, I'm a bull, so I love that. Okay, bouncing off support. I like the 200. It's now hooking right there. Okay, we're just now trying to break out of. This is the all-time high right here. Okay, you can notice we just broke out of the bearish territory, which is the lower third. So we're just neutral. Now we're neutral. All right, that's nice. All right, because eventually if we keep going up, we'll break out of neutral zone and into the bullish zone. We'll see. All right, but here's price action, no longer bearish, and in a 15-minute uptrend and in a neutral zone. Okay, so T2123, this is the same product, only in the 3-bar chart. Okay, now you can see here's that was in an uptrend. So this one is an all-time high. There's a lower high. Up, there's a lower low. Up, there's a lower high, a lower low, a lower high. Okay, so we haven't made any higher highs. We need a higher high to be in an uptrend. So we're making lower lows and lower highs, so we're still in a downtrend. Now, if price happens to take out this high right here over the 17, okay, that will negate the downtrend and convert the uptrend. They're close, all right? See how close they are? They're real close right here at the crosshairs. Okay, so they're very close to getting it done. If we look at the price action yesterday, okay, you can see a bullish gap up and the bears never filled the gap. Same thing the day before. All right, that's price action moving up and holding that higher ground. That's bullish. Okay, so we've got in a downtrend that's no longer moving down, it's moving up, but not enough to qualify for an uptrend yet. Okay, so there's T2123. We're under the 200 SMA, okay? Not my favorite place to be unless I'm a bear. You guys already know I'm a bull. So still bullish on the market. So there's T2123, 3-bar chart. All right, let's take a look at FNGU. FNGU, look at the bull flag. Price moves up. See if we can get the arrows. Okay, price moves up and over to the right. We love that. This is great. We watch, and you're probably wondering why are we watching FNGU? It's not an index. No, it's not. But let me just say, FNGU only has, believe it or not, 10 products in it. That's it. But it happens to have 10 of the most heavily weighted products that's in the SPY and the QQQ. And when these 10 big boys, huge market cap, all right, probably enough to pay off the national debt. All of them, okay? Put them all together, they could probably pay off the national debt. When they move as a pack, all right, when they move as a pack, they can jerk those two indexes in whatever direction they're traveling. Okay, when they move as a pack, those 10 securities inside that FNGU. Okay, because that's how much weight they carry. All right, so that's why we kind of keep an eye on this. Because again, it doesn't matter what the rest of the market's doing, because when these move as a pack, they're going to dominate the direction for the price. So if they're moving down, they will tend to drag the indexes down. If they move up, they will tend to drag the indexes up. All right, so here we are with FNGU, 15-minute chart. Again, we're over the 200 SMA. All right, I like that because I'm a bull. We're over the all-time, see the pink line? The all-time high anchored VWAP. I like that because I'm a bull. And we have in the post pre-market, we had consolidation over prior consolidation, which is a bullish environment right there, but we seem to be losing it right now. So we need to pay attention to see if we can see any exhaustion candles where they turn around and rip it back in the other direction. Okay, we'll see what happens. All right, breaking the bottom of the flag, all right, is an entry for a downtrend. All right, if the bottom of the flag continues to hold, all right, then I still have faith in the bulls. But if we break the bottom of the flag, not so much. All right, so keep an eye on that SPY flag, that FNGU bull flag, that QQQ bull flag. So there's FNGU on the 15-minute chart. That is still bullish. All right, and you can see they're still in an uptrend, making higher highs there. Now, I don't know what happened, but there was a bearish gap down the day before. And yesterday we opened up just enough to fill the gap. That was pretty good. All right, kind of sneaky, but that made price come back here and just consolidate over to the right. Okay, let's take a look at our economic package. Okay, here's the US dollar. Okay, and you can see in the US dollar price. Okay, price moves from this high down and then over to the right. Okay, so they're in a flag between this area right here. So the top of this line right there and the bottom of this line right here. So they're in a channel right now. They tried to get candles to close over the top of the bear flag. They couldn't get it done. Okay, so instead they made a lower low right here. Here's a low right there. They made a lower low, so they're back in a downtrend inside this bear flag. Now they were in an uptrend, okay, because inside here you can see there's a double bottom right here. All right, and there's a lower high because there's a high, there's a lower high right there. Then we turn around and made a higher low, a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low right here. Okay, now we need to make another higher high, and they failed to make a higher high. And we came back and tested the low and made a lower low. So now we're back into a downtrend there on the U.S. dollar. We like a weak U.S. dollar. The consumer in us hates it because it makes all our goods more expensive. But the investor in us makes our goods and services more competitive in the global markets. All right, because it doesn't cost our neighbors more of their currency to purchase our goods and services. Remember, everything is paid to us in dollars. They have to convert it, all right, to U.S. dollars in order to pay us. So what happens is when we have a strong dollar, it costs them more of their currency to buy our goods and services. So we like a weak dollar, the investor in us, but the consumer in us thinks that sucks because our money doesn't go as far. All right. Max pain for today, 680. Put to call ratio about 3.35 puts for each call. Possible put squeeze on the table. We'll see what happens. Earnings calendar right here. Nothing but familiar names. Nothing here that's going to move the markets for today. Economic calendar, 8:30. Well past it. Coming up. 8:30. A delayed report on personal income and outlays. It comes out at 10. All right. Not 8:30. Comes out at 10. Consumer sentiment comes out at 10. Factory orders 10 o'clock. And a Baker Hughes rig count at 1 o'clock. That's it. All right. So light day. Watch this 10 o'clock reversal. All right. I would not doubt it if they reverse it based on this delayed report. We'll see what happens. Okay. So watch. I'm still bullish. All right. This will be a delayed report. And I'll bet things get spun around on that. We'll see what happens. All right, that's it for me this morning. I will try to render my video and get it out there to podcast land so everybody else can enjoy it. Thank you, traders. All right, I will be back in about 35 minutes to open up the markets with you.